Hi, and welcome back to the Adored Woman podcast. I'm your host, Naomi Thompson. And before we get started with the episode, hit the follow button and then you will be notified when new episodes become available. Today, we're talking about something that sounds small, but actually will quietly change the entire dynamic of your relationship. Why you should stop giving men advice. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, but I have great ideas, why shouldn't I share them? I know you do. You are accomplished, you are capable, you are intelligent. You may even solve problems for a living, so of course you have great ideas. But if you want to feel cherished, if you want him to step up, if you want romance and polarity and that feeling of being adored, then this matters more than you think. So you don't give advice because you mean to be controlling. You give advice because you care. You want to be helpful. You want things to work. You want harmony. So if he mentions a problem at work, he's frustrated about something with money, there's a practical issue in the house, and instantly your brain goes, I know how to fix this. This is easy. Why doesn't he just do X, Y, and Z? So you genuinely want to help. And sometimes, if we're honest, there's also a discomfort with there being a problem at all. So we just want to jump in and fix it, to smooth things over, to restore calm, to restore certainty. It feels efficient and loving and logical. But here's what's happening underneath. In romantic polarity, the feminine partner primarily wants her feelings cherished. When you feel heard, understood, emotionally received, you soften, you glow, you feel safe. An example of that in my life is if I'm getting bad menstrual cramps, which sometimes I do still get, he will bring me a hot water bottle before I've even asked for one. In fact, he brings me 2 hot water bottles. And then for the whole time, that part of my cycle, I have this constant rotation of hot water bottles in my lap. So then he's just taking care of my comfort. And that makes me feel really cherished and loved. And the masculine partner primarily wants to feel trusted, respected, admired, appreciated for his thinking and his actions and his decisions. Now, it's not that a man never wants his feelings cherished, and it's not that a woman never wants her actions and her thoughts respected, but I'm talking about in romantic polarity. The masculine partner will primarily want to feel respected and appreciated and trusted and admired for his actions and his thinking. He doesn't want to feel mothered, doesn't want to feel managed, not subtly corrected either, but trusted. So when a man feels trusted, his instinct to provide, to protect, and cherish rises. You'll notice the way he stands, his chest is broader, he stands taller, he feels more of a man when he feels trusted. When he feels doubted, even gently, something in him shuts down. And importantly here, he will shut down to you, and it will be confusing for him. He won't know why, because he loves you, or he's attracted to you. He doesn't want to shut down to you. And unsolicited advice, even when beautifully delivered, sweetly delivered, often lands as, you don't trust me. And that is the part most women miss. And that is the thing that is so important for us to know. So you might offer a suggestion, he goes quiet, or defensive, or slightly irritable, or he nods, but you can feel he's not really receiving you. And then you try a little harder to convince him. And then now you're in the fixer role. And the moment you're in the fixer role, you're subtly in the mother role. And that kills romance. And it's not because either of you are bad people, but because polarity collapses when you become the leader and he becomes the hesitant one. So over time, you'll notice he becomes more passive. He defers to you on decisions. You might feel more burdened by the family decisions, and your respect for him will quietly drop. You'll start feeling irritated, and sex and romance will fade. And you don't even realize why, and he doesn't realize why, but you just start to feel like roommates. This part is important. When you are constantly advising, correcting, guiding a man, you might not notice it, but your admiration for him starts to erode. And without admiration, desire struggles to exist. You cannot feel deeply attracted to someone you feel superior to. And I just want to let that land. And if I'm honest, And I feel almost ashamed to admit it, but I've been in relationships that I felt superior to him. Like, I'm the more evolved one. I'm the more personally developed one. I'm the more emotionally mature one. And my admiration for him diminishes, and we don't want that to happen. We want to admire our man for who he is in the world. We want to respect him because that makes us feel good. So, that irritation you feel, that eye roll energy, that why am I the only adult in the room vibe that you give out, that is polarity dying. And the tragic part is you both created it, and you created it while trying to help. And this is all about not taking on the blame or the whole responsibility for the breakdown of a relationship, but saying, what is my part? And this isn't about shame, it's just awareness. And awareness gives you power, darling. This is where it's exciting. So what do you do instead? This is the shift. First, when you feel the urge to advise, pause. Literally zip up your lips and notice the discomfort in your body. Notice the urge to fix. Notice the urge to be useful, the urge to prove that you know how to resolve the situation, the urge to be a good girl, to be a helpful girl. So just feel it. And just by feeling it, that is feminine strength, being able to sit in that space without controlling the outcome. Then say something like, I can see this is really frustrating, or that sounds tough. I can feel how important this is to you. So what you're doing is you're validating his experience. You're not solving his problems. And then you might ask something like, what do you think you'll do? Or what do you think is the next right thing to look at? Or the right people to ask? Or you might say to him, I really believe in you. You have been in fixes like this before and you've found great solutions. And then lean back. Let him lead. Let him think. Let him be the man who finds his own solutions in his own time. Because when a man is left to think over the problem and find his own solution without our help, his testosterone rises. And if you want to hear all about this from an expert, listen to my interview with Dr. John Gray, author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I will link that episode in the show notes. And if you genuinely have an idea about how to fix this problem, ask his permission. And I know women don't want to hear this. Ask a man's permission. Why should I ask a man's permission to use my brain? But this is all about maintaining the polarity in the relationship. So you could say to him, I have an idea about this problem. Would you like to hear it? Now he gets to choose. If he says yes, he's open. If he says no, you just let it go. Just drop it. He said no. And that is power. It's not about proving. It's not about persuading. It's not pushing. It's just trusting. So unless he says to you, what do you think? Have you been in this situation before? How do I fix this? Then zip up and just let him find his own solution. Because when a man feels trusted, his confidence rises, his protective instinct activates, his desire to cherish you increases, and you get to feel chosen and adored and considered and protected and cherished and loved, not because you forced him to or guilt-tripped him to or had big conversations with him to get him to see that you wanted to feel all those things, but because you gave him the dignity of leading. And here really is the deeper truth. A woman who doesn't need to control is incredibly attractive. She feels calming and grounded and secure, and she trusts herself enough to lean back and let go of control. And that energy, it draws in a masculine man every time. You may have been praised your whole life for being capable. You got approval for knowing the answers. You were rewarded for fixing things, getting great grades, all of those things. But in romantic love, being the most capable person in the room is not what creates devotion. Trust does. Admiration does. Soft strength does. And I say the word strength with that. Feminine energy and feminine polarity is not about being sweet, nice, passive, submissive. It's none of those things. Soft strength is about being strong enough to feel your feelings and stand your ground, and also to not jump in and overdo with a man and overfunction in a relationship. Midlife especially. You know, we do not give too many F's about what people think. This is where you get to stop proving and start receiving. You don't have to carry everything anymore. You don't have to lead everything anymore. You get to be cherished and you get to be adored. So if you notice yourself regularly advising men, correcting or managing your man, don't judge yourself. Just experiment for 1 week. Pause. Just zip up your mouth for a bit. Ask him some questions and lean back and watch what happens to his energy. You may be really surprised how quickly he steps forward when you step lightly back. And if this episode resonated, follow the podcast. And I'd love to hear in the comments what came up for you as you listened, because you really don't need to work harder to be adored. What you need to do is just to stop over functioning and let him rise, and you will reap the rewards of that. Thank you so much for joining me on the Adored Woman podcast. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. And if you want to deepen your learning, get the 9 aspects of the Adored Woman free training. All of that is linked in the show notes. See you next time.